Today, it's a matchup between lighter fluid versus chimney starter. We're going to see which one is easier to set up, and toward the end of the video, we're going to cook 2 hamburger patties, one on the lighter fluid side and one on the chimney starter side. Then we're going to see which one tastes the best. I'm Johnny. You're watching A View to a Grill. The first thing we're going to do is set up the lighter fluid. When setting up the lighter fluid, we're actually going to follow most of the instructions. I'm going to use a Weber chimney starter as my measurement container. Here is my full Weber chimney starter. I was not interested in weighing them or counting out the coals. Now, to refer back to the instructions, I'll need to pile these up in the shape of a pyramid in the center of the grill. Now that we have our charcoal in a pyramid, let's set up the chimney starter. For the chimney starter, all we have to do is pour our charcoal into the chimney starter. Here's what that looked like when I was done. You can see it's about the same as the first chimney starter. The chimney starters were originally built for newspapers. I am going to use the Superior brand of fire cup to start my chimney starter. Now that we have the lighter fluid test set up and the chimney starter test set up, let's go ahead and light our fire. So we're on number 2, open the cap, and if you look at number 3, it says to use 1.6 fluid ounces of lighter fluid per pound. Well, I'm not going to take the time to measure that out. I'm just going to squeeze what I feel like is the appropriate amount right onto my coals. Now that that's done, all we have to do is close the cap and light immediately. And now I just light the pile and it immediately bursts into flames. Now for the lighter fluid, all we have to do now is wait about 15 to 20 minutes before the next step. So that's going. Now we can start up our chimney starter. And basically that means starting our fire cup and placing the chimney starter on top. Now in my opinion, it seems that starting up the chimney starter is a lot easier than starting up the lighter fluid. Now to know how much time we're burning, I'm going to start up my stopwatch. And here you can see on the build up to that 10-minute mark, really just a lot of smoke, not a lot of fire. Number 6 says in approximately 15 to 20 minutes, or when the pile is predominantly ashed over, you can then spread out the briquettes evenly. Let's take a look at our briquettes. You can see on our pyramid, the right side looks pretty good, but the left side still needs some time. And then over here in our chimney starter, you can see through the little holes that we're about halfway up the chimney starter. We're at about the same on both, and at this point I decided just to let both of them go for 20 minutes. So it kind of looks like both of them have about the same amount of startup time. Now we're at 20 minutes later and the coals are ready to preheat our kettles. Now here, just so you can see the time, I'll go ahead and stop my stopwatch. I'll first spread out the coals on the lighter fluid side. And then if we refer back to our lighter fluid instructions, it says to wait about 5 minutes before we start cooking. So I'll get the grates on and put the lid on the kettle. Now I can dump out the coals into the slow and sear, and it was easier to spread out the charcoal with the chimney starter, and it only took a little bit of adjusting the coals for that to happen. So now I can close the lid on the slow and sear, and now we're just going to wait that 5-minute period before we start cooking. So we'll get the stopwatch started. Now the only thing that really is a huge difference for me is I found it was easier to use the chimney starter over the lighter fluid. That was it. Now if you don't know, I have an Instagram page. Go ahead, go over to Instagram, give me a quick follow at View to a Grill, and I would appreciate that a lot. And now what are we cooking exactly? We'll be cooking 2 hamburger patties, just so that we can see if one actually tastes better than the other. You've heard and I've heard that lighter fluid will leave a lighter fluid taste on the food that you cook. So we have the hamburger patties cooking, and let me show you what the coals look like under the hamburger patties. You can see on the lighter fluid side that there are still a lot of dark coals on the left side of the grill. But if we take a look at the chimney starter side, you can see that just about all of those coals have ashed over. Since there's more fire, it's a little bit hotter. Okay, so the patties are done. Now it's time to do a taste test. Let me show you what the patties look like. This one is from the lighter fluid side, and then this one is from the chimney starter side. All right, so the patties are done. Let's take a taste test and see if we taste anything weird on either patty. Now, I tasted these patties several times, just doing my best to find a taste difference in the two. But after several tastings, well, I couldn't taste any difference between the lighter fluid side or the charcoal chimney side. So to me, what that sounds like is, as long as you follow those instructions on the back of that lighter fluid can, your food should taste pretty good. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, this is the kind of stuff you're missing. So go ahead, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.